Going to do another live stream today. It is Thursday, October 27th. It's about 12:32 in the afternoon Eastern time. Oh no, I think I have a Zoom meeting right now. Hold on a minute, kids. This might be the wrong time to start this. Sit tight. Remember, this is Live with Oscar. You guys live with me. It is what it is. All right, so do I have a meeting right now? Do we have a meeting today? Just give me a moment to get an answer to this, and then I will know if I could get started or not. So I might have to interrupt this for a quick Zoom. Please answer me right away. Come on now. Give me a quick answer. I'm calling. I have no time to wait. That didn't work. Let's try that one more time. Mr. Niall Hansen, do we have a meeting right now, or is that 3 o'clock? So a half an hour from now. This is why my children were bad at math. Okay, so that's 2 o'clock Eastern. It's a 3-hour difference. No, I'm okay right there. So I'm doing some live streaming now. So you're telling me 2 o'clock Eastern, right? I'll be there. All right, thank you, sir. No, either or. You tell me. Yeah, I'll go by phone. All right, let me fly because I'm actually live streaming at the moment. Thank you, sir. Cheers. So, because every clock in my home, everything, my cars, my computers, my alarm clocks, everything, all the TVs, they're all in Eastern time because that's the way the markets operate. I live in Eastern time, even though I'm here in Vegas. So every time I make appointments with people, they're like, hold on, 12, is that 3, is that noon? When are we doing this? Oh my God, they're always panicking. It's got to be the reason why my kids were so confused in math, because no matter when they woke up or went to school or came home, it was always 3 hours different. Anyhow, let's see what YouTube's doing here. And I'll break out the chat room and we'll go over some charts. And I'll break out the chat room. We'll mute that. All right, so I think I can pop this out. All right, kids, I'll put the chat room on the screen in case you have questions. I'll be able to see them. And I will crank it up just a little bit so you guys can read it. All right, I think we're good to go. Can you guys read that? Maybe a little bit bigger. Hold on, because I can't read it. That's probably better. I think you'll be able to read that. All right, so thank you for tuning in. And again, today is Thursday. We're looking at the E-mini S&P, Nasdaq, Russell, you name it, trying to see where the markets are supposed to go for the next 24 hours. We are day traders. Last night, Wednesday night, I did a YouTube video to kind of say, hey, we are running into trouble. I don't like what I see up here. Here is my reasoning. I also depicted how the dollar's topping was right on time with the E-mini S&P's bottoming in last night's video. And today you're getting the dollar to head back up and E-mini S&P to head right back down. So what I'd like to do is show you some of those charts that we discussed last night and see just what's going on now. Any questions before we get started? We're good. So for whatever reason, there is 0 people in the YouTube chat room, Dano. Any idea what I did wrong? Usually there's plenty of people in there. That chat room's obviously not visible or something's not right. Can anyone get in that YouTube chat room? Maybe it's me. Maybe I have to restart another. Okay, there is somebody in there. Very good. All right, so it's working. That's all I needed to know. All right, so we are absolutely going to look at what we discussed last night. Pass that test. Thank you. So let's delve into the first chart that's sitting in the background here. And that would be the chart in last night's video, which I am going to dub Chart Masterpiece. Now look at this crazy chart and how well it has worked for making the longer term swing call so that we know what to do for day trading in between them. Dow Jones Transportation Average, you can see that this average has just worked like magic, and Wall Street obviously has written this into their algorithms for trading the transportation average, or at least knowing when to hit the gas pedal and when to take your foot off or hit the brakes. So you hit the gas when this happens, right? And then here, boom, look what happens. So the brakes get hit, boom, down you go. So this average has been magical all the way throughout. I mean, it just works time and time again. Look at the top here, right? So what happens? The market breaks, leaves a gap, a big one, drops, leaves a secondary gap, finally hits what we call a bottom for now, creates this channel, fills each gap. This gap got filled just yesterday on Wednesday with the green bar. And boom, hits the average, hits the top of the channel, and we have a down day. Interesting, right? So this I am dubbing my chart masterpiece because in the beginning of this drop, well, the secondary part of this drop, we put this chart out and said, bad juju, I do not like what I see. This is going to get ugly. And it started to get ugly from there. Then it gets involved in this average, and it's very useful. And here we are at that average right now. This is my chart masterpiece that we did in last night's video. Now, what I added in last night's video is this is absolutely a flagpole to this big flag. This whole thing can be considered a flagpole to this big flag. So not only did we run into that average resistance, let's change this to red so it makes more sense. Not only did we run into the resistance that stops this market or allows it to explode, but we hit the top of the bear flag and or channel that the market's been trading in. I say that's a bear flag. And this was last night's video. This is where we stood when I made that call. And as you can see, that is what's going on now. All right, look at this. Make a little more room. It is dropping. Very nice. So let's get that out of the way. All right, so that was the Dow Jones. Then another chart in last night's video. Look at this crazy chart. This was right on the money as well. This is where we left off. I said, look at the E-mini S&P. I do not like what I see here. I didn't like it here. I didn't like it here. I don't like it here. That was last night's video. The OMNI also went neutral to tell me to stop buying. And we are having a down day. Go OMNI, go, right? What more could you ask for? The night before to get this information, pretty good stuff. So That's what's starting to happen now. We did hit the top and we're starting to pull back. If that continues, we are going to go down a lot to make up for this whole rally that we just had. But we are day traders, and I'm not going to anticipate what's going to happen, except for that this day should, till the day's over, it's a should, continue lower. Then once that happens, we know we're on another downswing. What else was in last night's video? The Bitcoin chart. It's a shame that it follows. Now, once again, I've had many people argue with me and tell me that Bitcoin is all to its own. It's decentralized, and it does not follow the algorithms on Wall Street. Well, I am sorry for you cats that like to believe that nonsense, but Wall Street's having a down day. Bitcoin's having a down day. You can believe anything you want. Reality, when you see it with your own eyes, that's what you're supposed to believe, not what people say, think, or emote because they've got their money tied up in it. So I do, but I don't pull any punches. When it's going down, I call it. When it's going up, I get happy. But I don't pretend it's going up when it's going down. Anyway, I do know that it follows Wall Street. And because Wall Street is having a down day, so is Bitcoin. Oh, that wasn't it. That was this. So they do travel hand in hand. If Wall Street recovers, S&P recovers, Bitcoin will recover. If not, Bitcoin drops out of the channel and down we will go. But we are day traders once again, so we'll let the market tell us what to do. We will not anticipate. Let's let it fall out of the channel first. And to be honest, this channel can be drawn a little cleaner. It's not that clean. Let me see what I could do with this. Let's erase it and just do this again. This should be cleaner. All right, so we're going to take it all the way from the lows, and we'll do this. So you got that channel, right, or that trend line, I should say. Then we're going to do a channel. And if we get nice and tight, we're already breaking the channel. See that? If we make the lines thin, get away from me, please. If we make the lines thin, even better. You can see that we are nice and tight against the bottoms. The top needs to go about here. That catches these two, right? Wherever it goes, it goes. So that it's already falling out of this channel. So to not make it confusing, get this out of the way, get all of this out of the way, and you see what's happening? That, my friends, is following Wall Street. Is there anything else that we should look at? We did this, we did this, we did that. So the weekly. You don't see anything in the weekly yet because this is a weekly bar. But if this guy turns red, that tells us that we're starting to run into trouble again. The way for it to turn red is right now that little dash to the right, this little guy right here. That tells you exactly where the market is live at the moment. In order for this bar to turn red, it's got to drop below yesterday's settlement. Then the bar would turn red. That's a long way down. Or I should say, I'm sorry, it's got to drop lower than the opening of the bar. But it's a weekly bar, so we won't know until tomorrow. All right, now, because I cannot see if there are questions, now I can bring up these chat rooms again and see what you guys were writing to me. John Doe says Apple. Well, I can, without looking at the chart, I can tell you Apple is failing because the stock market's failing. So let's go find it. Boom. Ugly. That's Apple. What happened? It was labeled yesterday. The label is gone. Yeah, the label's gone. Apple. And this is not the average that was on there, by the way. There was a orange average, which went through all those circles. Don't say I remember what it was. So Apple is failing. Don't remember exactly what this was. Let's throw the 50s on there. I think this literally was a weird number, like a 37 or something. This was a bizarre average. That's not it. That doesn't do anything for us. I don't remember what it was, to be honest. I experiment every day. Wasn't the 50? So I don't know. Doesn't really matter to me. At the time, it was working well. I'm not using it now. I'm looking at something different now. So we get rid of the average, and I'll show you what I'm looking at. Averages are only important if you notice Wall Street's using them. Otherwise, they're useless. What I'm starting to notice is this. You can see that whatever was starting to happen here, you're falling out of. So the market tends to run in these patterns. Sorry, I did not put do not disturb on this phone. I should have. That's an F flag, an Oscarism known as an F flag, if you will. Right, we can do this. An F flag will go on continuously until it finally breaks out of the flag, which I think is starting to happen now. I'll just turn this red so it all looks like one thing. So we're starting to fall down in Apple out of whatever channel was holding it up. The stock market is starting to crack. It's cracking at about the same area. We had a little run in the S&P that basically looked like this, and then it failed. Same thing with Apple, which is a huge component to our stock market. So it sort of looks like the S&P or the Nasdaq to me. And I think we're going further down, if you want to know the truth. That's what it looks like on the chart. And channel. Apple's reporting after the close, right? Yes. Well, there's an indication of what Apple's going to report. So, all right, let's go back. Forget about the charts for a moment. Let's go back and look at Apple without any of this. The mentality is run it up before a report if it's a bearish report. Run it down before the report if it's a bullish report. What exactly do we call that? Is it bullish or bearish? My Omni went neutral. That looks confusing. So you'd have to think with that weird mentality of send it down before the report, it's going to be a bullish report. But 2 days ago, you were banking on it being a bearish report. So if you're using that mentality, you don't know what to do right now. I'm sure without even looking, Omni is pointing to the downside on Apple because it's pointing to the downside in Nasdaq. I'm assuming Omni's expecting this to go lower. I would count on whatever Omni says. But yeah, with them reporting, it would have been really nice to leave us here because then you know it's a bearish report. Or would have been nice to have started this 2 days ago so we know it's a bullish report. But to do it right now, there's a gamble for you, huh? Anyway, just some mentality. Street mentality. See Meta train wreck? Well, you can tell by the chart yesterday that that was going to go bad. I think we talked about that, didn't we? That it looked like their report was going to be ugly in our last stream. Oof. That's worse than ugly. I don't know what happened there. That's just bad news. Look at that. Look. That was after the reporting. Boom. Don't know what to say about this poor stock anymore. This guy shouldn't have jumped into the metaverse so quickly. Look at that weekly. Would you be scared if that was your company on a weekly chart? This is Meta weekly. How scary is that? It just creates bear flags and dumps and more bear flags and dumps, right? Look, it goes drop, consolidation. Let's get rid of these guys. right? It does it again. It just keeps finding places to drop, consolidate, or take the whole damn thing, however you want to look at it. And I say this is also another one. All right, we can just take this, make this a little flagpole. Oh, hold on. Make this guy a little flagpole, if I could separate it. You got this one next. Boom. Flag. Here. You don't like it there, put it here. What's the difference? Into the next drop. Seriously ugly if this is your company. And the whole thing's in a channel. Look at this, whole thing's in a channel. Well, bam, straight down. Well, not there. That's not a channel. That is ugly. Let's do that again. What kind of a channel do we have here? Do we go back to here? No, we're going to take it right from here. All right, so whatever that is what the other side should be. And that's all you can do is leave it there because this is the channel. It's being created on the downside. And then, of course, it's going into smaller ones, right? Then it starts to do this. Well, it's doing all kinds of crazy things, but it does not. Good thing I don't own shares of that sucker. You got to be short that. I'm assuming that that Wall Street's shorting the crap out of it. I don't have fall in love with the upside. Bob, you didn't actually watch the video, or you don't actually listen to any of the words or any of that, huh? I mean, how could you even write the sentence? You're completely opposite of my video. In each video, I have been saying, here's the long of it, and here's the short term. Okay? So I said in the video, Wall Street's paying attention, of course, to the long term. It held for 3-4 weeks. They came in and started buying. But now the short term says we're heading back down. And I pointed on the board and said, do not fall in love with the upside. It's on the board in every video. These are exactly the words I said last night. So, correct, it does. So that doesn't mean we're not allowed to trade the upside. It doesn't say you're not allowed to trade the upside. It says don't fall in love with the upside. So that means a guy like me goes, okay, watch as it goes up, watch for it to get tired. Oh, look at that. Here's a tired spot. Call it. And down it starts to go. Bob, more than that, I can't do. How much more could you ask from me, sir? I mean, it's perfect mapping. Perfect mapping. What more could you ask for? It's literally perfectly mapping this out for you guys. Now, trading it, I understand trading, Bob. That's a completely different story. Right? Because we might trade it wrong. But the mapping out has been right on the money. Anybody? Can anyone argue with that? Because Bob seems confused. I say don't fall in love with the upside on my board, but it's there. And I'm talking about the 200 bar moving average. But even the titles of my videos lately have been the long and the short of it. Here's the long term versus the short term. Now it's last night was weekly versus daily. Do you not get the theme here? I mean, more than that, I don't know what else you guys would like from me. I don't know how else to map it out. No. What I'm saying is algorithms are built for Wall Street traders that mainly are trading huge amounts of money. Right? A lot of it's 401k money. They have to pay attention to the big moves when it's time to get back in. The 200 bar moving average is that long-term view. You know they have to pay attention to that. So I'm showing that in my videos to just show you what Wall Street looks at. But us day traders recognize nothing goes straight up or straight down. So we get to play all the trees in between, all the plays in between. I've got to keep my eye on the forest in order to navigate us through the trees properly. So the 200 bar lately, because it's in vogue, is the forest. The trees are me coming up with an Omni trade every day. Way to get in, way to get out. We haven't had a losing trade this week, have we? I don't think we had one last week. Or maybe one and everything else won. So the mapping out is working. My account's been going up. The other OmniX accounts have been going up. I think my mentality and my view is actually right. I mean, because it's all chart. Okay, so then there's this. Then there is my long-term annual call, which has nothing to do with while we're in the markets for short-term trading. It's the beginning of each year. I have an annual call where the market should end up S&P by the end of the year. That call, it literally gets created in January. January 1st to the 15th, it's created. That gets put on the board, and that is just that. It's where we expect the market to end up at some point this year. Likely the end of the year, because it's the end of the year call, but it's really this year the market will get here. Now that stays on the board. That I do not alter, I do not change, I do not remove it. It just stays on the board because it's a really long-term call. For 15 years, I've been putting that call in these videos on the board in the beginning of each year, and 14 years now it's been right. If it's right this year, it would be the most amazing thing that ever took place on the planet because we are miles from that call. So even though I have a long-term call for the upside, I do not stand on any call that's not working at this moment in time, right? So you've never once seen me put up a year-end call and then just trade in that direction for the year. The year-end call is the year-end call. The longer term of it is the next couple of weeks, and the short term is what we're going to do today. So I kind of use all three to figure out what's going to happen. And my mapping of these moves has really been good. I don't know how you guys see it. I don't know if it's somehow confusing to you, but I don't know how many people you'll find that can stand in front of you the night before these things are supposed to happen and say, about face, direction will now change. This is the area that will give us trouble, and it starts to happen. That I have to figure out in between the long-term calls. The only way I can do that is to keep my mentality out because I've made a call for the upside, right? Now, if I'm going to use just my head to come up with trades, that means I have to look right to everyone, which means I have to find reasons to buy dips all year. I would never do that. Whatever the market says each day is what I will do. I don't care if it says sell today, buy tomorrow, sell for 15 days in a row, then it flips to a buy. Whatever the Omni says to do, I just follow it because the Omni's built on these market moves. And I think we have living proof that we do all right. Here's what I can tell you to do for anybody listening that's thinking, Oscar, yeah, right, whatever. I can tell you this. Every trade that has ever been put on the Omni is here for you to see. Every single trade. There are 22,500 trades since I started showing this particular site. There is a calendar. So on my Omni page, Daily Omni, at livewithoscar.com will bring you to the Omni what I want to do for today, whether it's trade the indices, trade gold, whatever I feel like doing. The information is here. Below that, you will find the chart to show you what I'm looking at. Below that, you will find a calendar. On any day that I've put out a trade for any month, on any year, you can just look at every trade. Click on 11. The trades for 11 will come up. So these trade date 10/11, and you can see on this side what we bought, what we sold. These trades get broadcast to people all over the world. There is no changing numbers. There's no fudging. There's no going back and making this look right. I don't have a magical wand to go change people's minds. They've seen the trades. They're as real as the day is long. Witnesses are all over the world. And what I want you to do is click on this calendar on any day. You want to do another month, hit previous. That's a different month. Now you come back, you're in September. Click September. See what we did on each day in September. You can check for yourself these trades and see what you think. Bob says, I understand that. I'm just wondering where you think this market is going, in my opinion. Okay, my opinion is crystal clear, and I kid you not, it's in many, many presentations since they started raising rates. The moment you hear chatter, doesn't have to be absolute, just chatter, that the market, that the Fed is not going to raise rates anymore or not as aggressive, there'll be no stopping the S&P. You've heard me say this many times. God forbid they actually come out and say, we're going to taper on our raising. So we're not raising 75 anymore. We're going to go to 50 and 25. You will not be able to stop the rally in the stock market. I've also said at the same time, we've got a 1-2 punch going on. You can continue to raise rates and the market will still go up, not with crude above 77. You get crude below 77, this market explodes. You get the Fed to say, we're going to slow down on raising rates, this market explodes. So here's what I will tell you. If either of those two happen this quarter, we'll explode before the end of the year. If we stay the course we're on now, and they continue raising at 75 basis points, and crude stays over 77, we got some pain coming our way, kids. We'll just continue to drop. So it's up to it's really those two big fundamentals. Either of the two. Take crude out of the equation, we're going up. Take the Fed, make them back off on rhetoric, we're going up. Either of those two don't go away, we will continue to go down. Now, there was a slight chatter that the Fed might taper off on their raising, and we had an immediate takeoff in the S&P. Just a little bit of chatter. Proves that I'm absolutely correct. I've been telling you this long before that chatter was released. That means that I basically have this mapped out, right? What's PH? Besides phone, penthouse, Playboy and Hustler. What do you got going on there, Dano? I don't know where to go with this. The stock PH. Let's go with this one. On the weekly, it's as handsome as the day is long. On the daily, it's more handsome than that. Dear Lord, what is this? So, PH. What do I know about PH? Nothing. I'm thinking of a different stock. Forget it. I don't know this stock at all. Big ol' head and shoulders there. And a head test coming. I don't know this stock at all, Dano. What is this thing? Who is PH? And they must, let me know, they involved in oil? What the hell would be going up? Fertilizer, maybe? These guys in fertilizer? What is this? Because why is it going up? I do know this. I know this stock. I used to put this in my videos. I remember this from way back when. Hold on. I used to use this in my videos way back here, if I remember right, during this time. I was as bullish as can be on this stock. Yes, I remember this. Came out of the clear blue. It just started hitting my radar. So, oh yeah, I do know this stock. That's a wild race, this thing, huh? It's all over the place. Interesting relationship with the dollar this thing has, huh? This has an interesting relationship with the US dollar, this chart. They must have a lot of cash. Do they have a ton of cash, Dano? I mean, I'm just looking at the chart and coming up with this. Does this company have a lot of cash on hand? Because this looks like a cash-driven stock chart. Dollar-driven. Anyway, this is just my opinion from looking at it. You should see how much cash they have on hand, Dano. That chart tells me they're flush in cash. The Hang Seng. You don't... TK20, I saw your question a few minutes ago. The Hang Seng Index. I not only used to trade that every evening, I flew to Hong Kong, went to the exchange and tried to get a booth on the exchange. And they were like, yeah, Mr. American, get out. They don't want to hear nothing from my American ass. Get out. But I got to go there and visit, and they wouldn't rent me a booth. We were going to open up an operation right there on the exchange. We traded it so much. So the Hang Seng, now it's funny, I say that to you, I don't even know if I could pull up the Hang Seng anymore. How would I even pull it up? Let's see. HN, I'm sure the symbol has changed since then. Let's go look it up. Hang Seng, NDC. Let's see if we can find it. That's the tech index. It's not quite it. Where's the actual? You got Hang Seng, everything else. Where's the main Hang Seng, people? It's a Hong Kong index. Let's try. Is there a name? Can I type name? No, I cannot. Let's just use this for now, just to see what it looks like. And that would be Feb. No, it would be these. This crazy bar doesn't make any sense. That didn't do anything for us. Alright, so this just doesn't, this is not it. Doesn't make any sense. Anything else? I didn't think I'd even be able to pull it up. I haven't checked on the Hang Seng as a chart in years. S&P having a little bit of a recovery. What time is it? 110. So, what could the best of all worlds be? This. If we get somehow the end of this day to do that, that would be the smartest thing that we could ever want to see. If we could somehow see this, you've got a real market going on here. You just need to get above that and settle. And that would show you that it's got more strength than failing right here and see you later on the downside. So, it'd be nice to see something like this happen today. I just don't know that that's what's going to happen. Well, Brian, if it's still in a bear, we've hit it. We're done. We just topped out. These charts I've been showing you would depict that. Right? That should be it. Just like it topped here. Like it almost hit there. Top started there, the trend line began there. So we should be there, right? We should. And then if you look at this guy, this also tells you the same thing. We are at a quagmire spot where the market should stop. So if we're there, we're there. We got here today. The market will tell us, and then tomorrow we'll react, right? I'm not going to tell the market what it's going to do, but when it tells us, I don't mind listening. I listen well. I can't say I always react well, but I listen well. Let's see, 43 S&P, down 127 in that NASDAQ, huh? Oof. Russell up, Nasdaq down, E-mini S&P unchanged practically. I told you we had a neutral Omni. That's about as neutral as you're going to get, right? Here, look at this board. Look how insane this looks. Down 127, up $2. Up 27. I mean, what is going on here, right? E-mini S&P up 2. Nasdaq down 128. Then Russell up 27. That is completely neutral. I'm glad we went neutral. Now my quotes aren't here anymore. What have I done? I need my quotes. Meta has to be affecting NQ, absolutely. Well, what would Tesla end up doing? Let's see, that's chart 4. We had some Tesla drawn up there yesterday. Top of the flag. Top of the morning to you. Look. Top of the flag. I'm sure there's an average coming in there somewhere if you look for one. Ugly flag though. You can draw this all kinds of ways, right? You could do this, which would make me more comfortable drawing it like that or like that. But top of the flag either way. Do or die spot, just like the S&P is in right now. I say we come back and knock on this door again. We'll see what happens. Oh, yeah. So, I don't know that we'll end up in a trade today, kids. If we rally enough, maybe we could take a short. We missed getting in by 3 points, right? 2.5 points. Missed selling the high in the S&P, and that's it. We've been sidelined. Did a break-even trade in gold. Maybe made $100, like 1 point in gold. That's been it. But I guess on a neutral day, that's what's supposed to happen. Let's see. Oh, you know what? We didn't look at the dollar. We haven't looked at that in a while. And I think I may have a dollar chart already drawn up somewhere. Guess not. We'll just draw it up. So, you have multiple trend lines here. The shorter term trend line, we broke, right? Channel. But there are much longer ones involved in this market. And if you start breaking these in a big way, that means the dollar will top. But that doesn't look like it broke anything to me yet. Right? Does the dollar on a weekly? That hasn't broken yet. So here we are, just coming down to the usual, right? This is what happens. We go like this, and then we end up down here, and somehow we end up here, and then we end up down here. So it seems to be a pattern, right? You rally up to this spot, you end up dropping down here. So we've come to that spot. If it's going to hold, back up to the top, and we continue the channel. right? And then you expect it to just continue on inside of that, which is basically what it's done so far. So, big area. Very important that we hold there. Inflation begins. If not, we will start to see inflation like crazy. Inflation spike if the if factor analysis tells us it's not going to crack for now. We'll let the market tell us what it's going to do, but the if factor says it's supposed to hold right here, right? If it breaks, it would be something different. Holding is what makes sense. So that dollar is big key to everything going on right now because of how much it's rallied and how much the world now is watching the dollar. So it's very important, this dollar. What it does will determine where we go in the indices. What does the phone say? And the phone says, moo. So, funny. You know those see and spell type things? Well, that was a really long message. 2 p.m. Got it. I can handle that. So, is anything else coming to mind? Think about it for a moment. I've looked at a lot of stuff. What were we doing with INTC? Didn't that have something going on? Was it this one? Oof, sure the hell was. Yes, I knew we had something going on here. That looks ugly. That, my friends, doesn't look pretty. But it is in some kind of an F flag. I mean, you never know. Maybe it'll just keep going in this direction for a while. Maybe. I don't know. Being that it doesn't move anyway, which is what I told you the first time, it doesn't have enough movement for me to care, but it doesn't look wonderful, that's for sure. Thank you, Crypto. Appreciate you. We were looking at SMH yesterday. Let's go take another look at that then, sir. SMH. Says Dano. Oh, it wouldn't come up. Remember? It was SMHI that kept coming up. Remember I couldn't get it to pop up here? So it wouldn't show up for us. I think we might have pulled it up on another, on here maybe? Mm-hmm. No, doesn't matter what I do, we're not getting SMH. One last try. Yeah, I think we found there was something else instead that was a proxy for it. Yeah, we can't get SMH here. Was SOX the proxy? Is that what we found? Yeah, maybe that was the proxy for it. You're right. We should have a SOX chart up there somewhere. That I can remember us doing. There's SOXX on this one. Yeah, it was SOXX. Well, at least you're out of the channel for a day or two. That's not going to hurt. Not quite sure what average we had sitting on there. We'll see what this one does to it, though. Start with a 50, which is usual. Simple. Everybody knows it. That's definitely not what was on there. God knows. This could have been anything. I remember it now. Got it. That would do it. It still doesn't look right. That looks better. Take away the voodoo trend line, because this is all voodoo as we know, right? This stuff doesn't work. Make believe. Take away the voodoo trend line and do or die spot. Basically, where gold is right now, it's at a do or die spot where the S&P is right now. The stocks that make up the S&P and or Nasdaq, we're at a do or die spot. Would make sense that this one is too, right? Do or die. You don't get above that. This is what happens. You don't get above. This is what happens. You do get above. You get a move. So do or die. You got to sit tight and wait for the socks. Semiconductor. All right. Bonds are up for another day, huh? Glad to see that. Let's go look at that. I'll just pull them up random on this chart. Nice. We're almost there, Sun King. Remember, once you get here, you have to wonder what happens next, like any analyst would do. You got to wonder what happens once you get there. Why? Because this defines the top of the trend in bonds. All right, let's do that a different color. Let's do that in a more meaningful color. This has been the defining rod. So 30-year bonds, we need to see what happens there. Makes sense that they're rallying them up into the next meeting, right? That makes sense. Heading towards a meeting. We know they're going to raise rates again. What else is on this board that might be jumping out at us? Ethereum, no. Nothing there. Beans did nothing. Gold did nothing. Nothing else out. There's nothing else out there at the moment. You closed your TBT. Very good, Dano. So when you guys do want to join me when I'm not live streaming, if you want to come to my live trading room, you literally just go here. Let's click this and create a free membership. What's Amazon look like? Let me look, George. Not pretty. pretty at all. I don't know what this is. I don't know why it's, oh, I wonder why. It's the 50. The usual. We like to use usual averages, kids. Let's do this. We don't really need an average here, do we? No, we do not. And well, here's an interesting thing. It put in the head and shoulders and went up. Right? I'll draw it out for you. It put in this and went up. And check this out. There's a theory for you. So this is supposed to be a pattern that makes the market go lower, not higher. Right? Head and shoulders. Something like this. So if this is supposed to make the market go lower, instead it went higher. Right? So this right now is a formation that should make the market go higher. Look, check this out. This is supposed to make it go higher, right? It's an inverted head and shoulders, if you will. Some form of, in some way. Or it's some kind of a V bottom. However you want to look at it, right? There's something going on here that should be more bearish than bullish. And the market's going down instead of up. So, on this particular stock, Amazon, when you see bearish formations, it goes up, and when you see bullish formations, it goes down. How interesting is that? That's something to keep in mind, huh? And, of course, look where you failed. Right at trendline resistance. Forget the rest of the voodoo. Trendline resistance voodoo we'll use instead, and it failed right there. Amazon. Down you go, kids. At least that's what it looks like. Whoa, you seen Mickey Mouse? It can get worse than that. Sometimes the drawings are worse than Mickey Mouse. Crypto, you want to look at cable? Yeah, we got time for that, for sure. On this machine, it's 6E, right? Yeah. We're out of this for how many days now? Look at this thing. We're out of this for 3 days. Let's go look at the weekly. So, larger pick, we have to see what it did. It's starting to take out that too, huh? Yeah. That's nice to see. Not good for our dollar, but that's nice to see. This is euro on a weekly. So basically it's the same thing. Look, euro weekly, you've got this going on, the dollar weekly. We had this going on, right? So we're at the same spot on both of them, but dollar looks a little better. Well, I guess not. They look about the same. Dollar hopefully holds here, but according to what we just looked at, this guy's already out. Now, don't forget this is a weekly chart. And by the end of tomorrow, this could easily be a red bar down here, right? We don't know. But for now, you're out of the channel in the middle of a bar during the week on your euro. Well, that's kind of cool. I think we keep an eye on that. It's very dollar related, more so than ever. Stevens, we did Apple. You missed it, huh? Steven Sanders. That would be scary. I'll just show you Apple again. I'll show it to you again. It doesn't matter to me. This is what I do, my friend. It doesn't scare me to look at a chart. Don't threaten me with a good time. Apple. Let's go to the daily. Very much like the stock market. I don't like the way it's just failing. Yes, it broke out of this channel. Everything had a nice week in the beginning of the week. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's just take a look at one other thing. There's no other way to draw that. What's here? All right, so even that, check out this area. Can I fill in a rectangle? Let's see if it's possible to fill in a rectangle. But check out this area. So much trouble you will have trying to get above this area. All the times it held on the way down, and the times it failed trying to get above. So this whole chunky area, right? If we could fill it in a lot of times, I'd fill it in so that it was all dark. But this whole area right here looks like a really tough place to get through. And lo and behold, the market rallies up, or the stock, I should say, rallies up to that spot and fails at it. More of a reason to think more downside on Apple. But how the stock market goes, how Apple will go. What's my take on crude? Drop the 200 back in there and see what it's doing around that. We'll even throw the 50 on there because we know the street likes crude and those averages on it. Nope, this is the 100 and the 200. Check this out. This is the 100. I knew it. I could tell just by looking at it that was... Oh, it says 100 here. I didn't even see that. I could tell just by looking. Let's make that orange. I didn't realize it was labeled already. Sorry, kids. I was using my memory or my brain to see what I thought that average was. So, what's going on here? As if you guys remember, I was showing you how this average was the average, right? This one, so let's look at it like this. This one didn't exist. It didn't get involved. It had nothing to do with nothing for a while. It was just the 100. But the 100 started to become the absolute king of topping out crude. Then it started to top out and it dropped to the 200. And that started working straight across. Now we're below the 200. We have no average reference points. We are in the middle of a channel that we seem to be gyrating from top to bottom, to top to bottom, to top. We're in the middle of it now. So it's got a lot of room to do either of the two things, but we are projecting down at the moment, not up. So I don't have a 110 target. We're in a bearish channel, pointing down below the 200 ball moving average. The 100 already topped us. I don't know. I don't have a 110 target. I don't know where that target comes from. I've had a 70. Well, my target was 77. Boom. That's right where we got to. How about that, kids? If anyone remembers, I gave a 77 target when we were somewhere up here. And we went 77. and rallied up from there, right to the high. So where are we going? Down here. 72-ish, 71. That's where it should eventually end up. And that's your crude oil. Anytime, Viv. My pleasure. All right, what time is it? 1:38. What else do I want to look at? There's a bond chart. I'll take a crack that this is it. Yes, this is it. Traders, we've been looking at this chart for years together now. Do you realize that I've literally been showing you this chart for years now? Same chart, it just keeps moving along. It used to be it was a heyday, right? Rates were going down, bonds were going up, capitulation blow off, rates are going up, bonds are going down. You got the below the 200 ball moving average, and then really started to accelerate, and you are below what was a double bottom, right? So, wow. Not good in bonds. You can get some kind of a rally out of it, but not until the Fed says they're done with rates are bonds going to look any better. Cool chart, though. It's got all kinds of fun stuff on it. I have to do my soda mixture here. Diet and regular. Only half full my pancreas. What do I think about banking stocks? I think anytime interest rates are going up, banks do better without even looking at the banking stock. Which one would you like to look at? No, I kid you not, I haven't looked at them in a while. I have to assume they're doing all right compared to the stock market. Doesn't mean they are. I know in times of higher interest rates, banks find all kinds of crafty ways to make money off those interest rates. This is cucumber water. Let's go look at JPM. Right, I can do that with you. And we won't use this chart. We never want to blow up that chart. JPM. So, this one was for the purpose of a different chart. We don't use this on JPM. I'll tell you what. I knew the banking stock would look good just because it makes perfect sense with higher rates. But look at how Wall Street, they even play games on their own stock. Look. You tell me JP Morgan doesn't sell their own stock when it hits a 200 ball moving average? They're not stupid, right? I bet you they don't buy their own stock when it gets there. And look at where we are now. Get a little pointer action going on here. I've got to go to my color palette. That's where we are now. A little bit troublesome, and the stock market's having trouble in the same place. So that makes sense to me. Do or die, once again, everything's in like a do or die spot, which really makes sense. All right, So I literally do this, I don't know, every day of my life. So if I'm not streaming on YouTube, Twitter, everything else that you may be watching me on, remember, just come to this spot and create yourself a membership, and you can hang out with me in my room where I'm always streaming. I don't like to always live stream across all the social networks because, you know, sometimes you get the wrong type of people that start typing, and who needs them? This is about trading, not fighting with each other. You know, before we, yeah, I'll look at Microsoft. Why not? Like Amazon, if you ask me. Not so good looking. That just looks terrible. I don't even think we need to do analysis on that. That just looks terrible. Hey, by the way, that question about crude, let me reiterate on the crude question. If the dollar tanks, crude's going to go through the roof. There is that. So, Viv, there is, if the dollar, I wanted to make that point clear. That was based on technical analysis. Crude oil not going to 110 based on the dollar holding in that 10-year, in the weekly chart. If the dollar breaks, yeah, crude can go to 110. Why not? It can go anywhere. Mega, how am I going to trade futures tonight? I don't know yet. Each day when the market closes, I get to run my OMNI and decide what to do. Here's what we're looking at, though. You want to talk about confusion? I told you in the video last night, the OMNI arrows were pointing in every direction. Red E-mini, S&P, red Nasdaq, green Russell, green YM, green Dow, green Tranny. Confusion, right? I don't know what I'm going to do tonight. I got to run my OMNI first. XOM. Yep, that is a beast. Let's go look at it. Oof, still going, huh? That's just out of control. It's scary to watch something go up like that while the market's going down. But when you can get crude out of the ground for $26 and sell it for $88, man, your stock better go up, right? Your stock better go up. This is Exxon, right? XOM is Exxon, isn't it? Yes, it is. I know it is. I know it is. Correct. NC Car. Correct. Question. If the Fed does hike rates, that should continue to bolster the dollar. Yes, but rhetoric matters. Rhetoric will matter here. In other words, if the Fed comes out and says that they may not need to raise as much, the dollar will tank. I mean, it'll just tank. The Fed can't use that rhetoric. The dollar will tank, not go up. Dollar's going up based on knowing the Fed's going to continue raising rates means they will continue to make the dollar look appetizing to the rest of the world. As rates go up, you buy U.S. dollars if you're from another country so that you can buy U.S. assets or U.S. bonds. If the interest rate's not going to go up as much, it doesn't look as appetizing immediately to the world. Fed chatter will matter. See what I did there? All right, so I've got a Zoom meeting at 2, and it is 12 minutes to Zoom. So I'm going to say goodbye to you cats for now. Maybe I'll come back live again this afternoon, possibly, if something smart happens. Otherwise, we'll figure out what to do tonight and get ready for tomorrow's markets. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate every time you guys come here. Love your questions, and I enjoy answering them. So please make sure you subscribe to Live with Oscar. Remember, the link is right here. No credit cards are required. And come hang out with me in my live trading room. I'm always here. I'm not always on camera, but I'm always there if you need me. All right, so long, kids. Nice hanging out with you again